Hello and welcome to SoBricks. I'm Adam and this is SoBricks. This is my channel for reviewing Lego sets and building them and other Lego related stuff. In this video I'm going to be taking a look at the brand new Lego Botanicals Happy Plants set. This is set number 10349. It has 217 pieces and I paid $23 for this set. This is another set that officially comes out on June 1st, 2025. I was able to get this early at the time of recording this. It is just the end of May, the last week of May, and I was able to get this one early, as well as a couple other sets, a Speed Champion set, a couple Star Wars sets, and among other things. But not all of the videos are going to come out before June 1st, but I'm just trying to get those out. This is interesting. I remember when this was announced, and it seemed cute, it seemed fun. I'm a big fan of the botanical collection, and I want them to kind of keep expanding it a little bit to get lots of different kinds of sets. This seemed interesting to me, and I wasn't quite sure about the price, frankly, and I'll talk about more after I've built this, but I'm excited to look at this. It just looks fun, looks happy, looks cute, and that is why I was interested in it. So great. So in this video I'm going to open this up, I'm going to put this together, and then I'm going to share my thoughts on it. So while I build, I will speed the video up and then I'll slow it back down to review this set. So until then, enjoy. Okay, so while we look at the build for this Lego Botanicals Happy Plants set, I just wanted to say thanks for watching, and then remind you, if you like this video, click the thumbs up. If you like my other videos, click the subscribe button. That helps me a lot. If you want to support the channel, you can give money to the channel, membership, supers, and thanks, Patreon, all that good stuff. Thank you. And I want to talk about the build. So we're already through building the first kind of planting vessel in this set, and both of them are built pretty similar, so not too much to talk about. Then we built the plant itself. You can see here we start kind of with this two stud wide base, a lot of studs on the side bricks used, and then we kind of build the walls up of that. There's some nice color usage here. I think there's some recolors in here, and then we can work on the other plant. I don't know what plants these are, so if you know what they're supposed to represent or close to depicting, please do let me know in the comments below. And now on to my review for this set. Okay, so that is the Lego Botanicals Happy Plants set. This is pretty cute, pretty fun. I like this. The build was pretty straightforward, but there's some good stuff in here. I don't think there's like new pieces. There are like relatively new pieces that were utilized in this, and I think there was some recolors for those, but it's a neat little thing, and we'll get into it. There are no minifigures. It is a botanical set, so we'll kind of look at this. There's two instructions, so this could be built with somebody else. One person could work on one of them, another person could work on another. And in each of the instructions, you build kind of one of the planters and one of the plants. So the first one you build is this one. Now, I don't know that this plant is in reference to anything, if it's supposed to be anything specific, but we'll get into this. One of the neat things about these is that the plants are their own separate kind of sub-assembly. They don't stud down or clip in or anything, so it's really just friction in there and then kind of their own weight, but it's a pretty good fit. I don't know if I turn it upside down, if I shake it around, maybe it'll come out, but it stays in there pretty good, and I can kind of describe what the deal is on the inside. But the first thing you build is this happy planter here. So this is pretty cute, pretty cool. You start by building the core of this, which is like a two stud wide kind of thing with some plates in there. There's a lot of like studs on the side bricks being used. There's a couple Technic like axle or pinhole bricks, so the arms are just that 90-degree curve, like Technic piece. So you can kind of move those a little bit, change a little bit of the expression. This one is all done in that kind of pale yellow, which I really like. I kind of think it's an underutilized color there, but feels really, really good for this. On the bottom, we have the couple little feet that it stands on. These are using the 2x2 round tiles that are flat instead of kind of convex or something there. So this does stand on its own and is pretty sturdy there. Once you build up the side, you do a sub-assembly for the front and the back of the planter there. And actually, while we're here, we can kind of see the plant, the root of the plant kind of just goes down in here, and we have these kind of bucket handle pieces, or these 1x2s with the bar kind of at top of it, and it kind of just sits in there, and that is all fine. The builds for this are really straightforward. All of the kind of edge pieces here that are curved, actually all of these are the new-ish kind of slope piece that only has a plate between the two parts here. So the bigger version of this has existed for a long time, and I think I first saw them maybe in Speed Champions, but these are like a smaller kind of slope piece here, and same for the corner pieces there, as well as these longer 1x4s, or not quite 1x4s, but these 4 stud wide pieces, and then the 1 stud wide ones over here. Those are like the shallower version of that. So you do get a good bit of those. I wouldn't be surprised if some of those are recolored for this. And then on the front, the build is virtually the same. Minor difference here, the like 1x4 tile is on the bottom instead of the top. And then we have the printed tile here, really good print quality. It's printing black, very basic shapes, not a ton of detail on a lighter color. So they did a good job with that, and that's to be expected. And it's a cute enough face, it's just a little basic little smiley face. I think that is fine, and that's pretty much everything that's in this. Looking at the plant itself, like I said, I don't know what this plant might be. If you have a guess, leave it in the comments. I appreciate that. This is its own little sub-assembly. It is a botanical set here, and this is similar to some stuff we've seen in botanical sets. You start actually with using a bar element, kind of one of the longer ones with the extra kind of width at one end of it. And that kind of goes all through there. We actually add in some like Technic pieces. All of these leaf pieces are clipped in, so you can kind of see the internals there. And then the ones at the top are actually using a bar element in here, which is like has a Technic pinhole in the center, and then bars coming off all 4 sides, and then we can get that down in there. And actually, let me just make sure I'm looking at this right and remembering how this is done. There's a couple like hollow stud pieces used to cover in some of the stuff, but the bar element that's in the middle is green. These are all kind of that dark green or brown here, and they are mostly like this kind of molded leaf piece. These ones are just turned inward. These ones are kind of more outward, just a basic 1x2 connecting them. And then we use these kind of, they've been used in a lot of sets as like a cockpit or a different thing, but they've been using them as like a leaf element in Botanicals for quite some time. At the bottom, we have just a round kind of soil assembly down here, or dirt or whatever, so some different colors of brown. And then we use one of those minion hair pieces in the tan for some roots, which I think is really, really cute. And then when this goes in there, it fits in. It's not like super fixed in any real way. You could spin this around, you can move it. There is friction holding it in there, so I'm not too concerned about it, and it's like super easy. I don't think this is that fragile, such that if this were to fall over and this were to fall out, it's not going to be difficult to like put it back together, or to it might not even fall apart in and of itself. So that is good. That's the kind of first booklet of pieces there. And the second one is this other happy plant. And again, you do this in two kind of separate things here. So the plant itself, again, I don't know what kind of plant this might be, if these are kind of succulent adjacent plants or what, I don't know. This one looks visually distinct, which is great. It's a way different shape, some different colors in there, but the kind of general subassembly for the soil and the roots is the same. And then there's a similar part piece with that kind of Technic piece with the pinhole that has 4 clips around it. You use 2 of those on this one. The other one you only used 1. Some of these pieces I was actually not 100% familiar with. If we look at the bottom, we can see they're like shield pieces, at least these ones are. These are like the rounded ones, and we put a clip through there, but then these ones that are like flat instead of more rounded, or like the bigger ones are more rounded and the other ones are flat, those just have a clip on the back instead of like a handle. So I think those were maybe just like signage or like something. I don't know exactly the origin of that piece. It's probably a relatively common piece. The stems are all the same. We use this nice bar element that takes or accepts the bar sized thing there, all these green bar pieces all the way around. So those are all the same, a little bit of repetition there. And then, like I said, the bottom here is very similar with the roots. And actually the build for the planter is pretty similar. Shape-wise, you know, this one's a little bit taller, partially because of the legs. This one is a little bit wider over here. This one's done in that kind of pale blue, I want to say, which I really liked. There is some distinct building techniques here. Some of it is similar. We start with kind of the 2 stud wide thing in the middle. We do use some like Technic pieces to attach the arms. Arms are the same piece, and we can turn those up and down there. But there's actually some different stuff on the side, including some like bracket usage, and these pieces underneath that are these kind of rounded pieces in there, but there's actually pretty minimal gapping on the side, so I thought that was pretty good how that all lined up to kind of make it feel complete. The feet are not at the bottom, they are on the front, so there's a little different building down here, and we can see some of the off colors on the bottom, but then otherwise, you know, it's a similar thing with the studs on the side pieces, and then the similar kind of tiles with the bar that are used to kind of hold the plant in, but you can see kind of some different stuff going on in here, which is slightly different. And then this one has a printed face as well. This one's on a 2x6 instead of a 2x4, and it's different. We almost get some kind of like dimples there or something. The mouth is a little bit different, and we can kind of see these next to each other. And what we can do is we can, you know, very easily swap which plant is going to go in which one. So this is like the opposite of what it is on the instructions. You know, we can easily swap those out, not too worried about it. I don't know if there's like the same amount of friction here just because there's less, there's like not as tall of a surface in there. I think this one has like a little more area on the inside, or maybe it's not that simple. I don't know if, you know, it's always guaranteed to kind of stay in there when it's turned upside down. I think, or yeah, I'm not sure. It's maybe supposed to come out pretty easily for whatever reason. There was some good amount of friction in there when I was first trying it. I'm not sure if that can be accomplished with this one, but maybe. It doesn't feel too bad. So really similar. These can kind of be paired to look like they're maybe like holding hands or something. So when these are sat on the ground, the hands can like overlap, or the arms can kind of overlap there, and they sit at a really similar or like a really nice height. So if this is on the ground and this is on the same surface, the arms are going to get like pretty close to each other, and they look really cute next to each other. So we can use the arms to articulate those. We can make them look a little bit different there, and these open up the possibility of like creating one could create their own kind of plants to put in there. One could sort of take these and try to make more similar things without the printed tiles. It's going to be a little bit different, but maybe people, maybe they'll make more of these. Maybe this will be like part of a thing. I don't know if they would ever do like sad plants or, not happy, but something else, where they would do more faces. But this could be something that we see more of. It could also be kind of a one-off thing, but it's easy enough to adapt to this and kind of create your own things for it. As is, I think this is pretty good. It's surprisingly like the plants themselves, which Botanicals for the most part is focused on the plants being created, not necessarily on the planter or the like vessel that they're going to be in. That's not 100% the case all the time. With the Four Gentlemen, they did put a lot of effort into making the base and the vase or whatever. For those with the orchid, there's a good amount of the building is in the base. With the bonsai tree, with the birds of paradise, all of that stuff does have some. And then there's other ones like the bouquets and stuff, maybe doesn't have a vessel. Some of the newer ones do. Sometimes they do kind of a simple kind of thing. There was a gift with purchase a while back, a couple of years ago, kind of actually right when I started this channel, that came with the like balloon pieces as a vase or like a planter, which I liked, but that one was like pretty simple, all things considered. This is kind of a different approach. I mean, this set is colorful. It's got really nice pale blue, pale yellow kind of muted colors here that are really cute, remind me of spring, summer, stuff like that. I think they're nice, they're cute, they're fun, they're happy, but the plants themselves are dark green, brown, so not like a ton of really colorful flowers here. And I might like that. It maybe is difficult to kind of maybe the other colors clash with this or anything. It's just kind of a different approach to the botanical collection than a lot of the other stuff. It's so it's different. It's got I don't know if the Four Gentlemen were 18 plus. I don't think they were, and I think there are other botanicals that like aren't 18, but yeah, I guess that flower arrangement is, that Four Gentlemen is, but the Petite Sunny Bouquet is a 9 plus. This set is a 9 plus. And then a lot of the other botanicals are 18 plus. Some of the smaller sets like the sunflowers, cherry blossoms, tulips, stuff like that. Actually, tulips is one where they did it as an 18 plus and did it as an 8 plus. Lotus flowers, the Christmas table decoration, I guess, is technically part of that. That was a 12 plus, but a lot of them, it's a little bit different. This feels, there's nothing too challenging about this. The age rating could probably even go down. So I think it's a welcome addition to the Botanicals collection. It's not like my absolute favorite, just because it is a little more playful, a little more juvenile in some ways. And one of the things I love about the Botanicals is like how advanced they are, how unique the part usages and connections are, and then just the completed model for a lot of them look, at a glance really convincing. I think these are a little less so, but that maybe is just my perception of them. I think they go towards more of like a cartoonish kind of thing or something else. Now, I also think there probably are planters like this that exist. Maybe they're made out of ceramic or porcelain or whatever, and they're like super, super cute. And maybe this is kind of based off of that sort of in some way. And I think that's totally fine. So I have no problem with this set existing. It was just a nice little change of what I typically expect from the Botanicals line. I'll show the extra pieces because we do get a couple, not a ton. The minion hairpiece in tan, the half pin stud, a pin, hollow stud, a plate 1x1, and the bar element there. And this set is 217 pieces, retails for $23. It officially comes out on June 21st, 2025. I got this a little bit early. I still paid for it with my own money. I didn't get it sent anywhere. I saw it on a store shelf early, picked it up, and this video might come out before June 1st. $23 for 217 parts, no minifigures. The Botanical collection has been, in all accounts, like really successful for Lego. Early on, a lot of the Botanicals had like pretty good price per piece ratios because they used a lot of 1x1s and a lot of flower studs and a lot of like tiny pieces, Technic pins, Technic axles, different stuff like that. So you might get a 30, 40, $50 set that has 600, 700, 800 pieces or something. The Four Gentlemen I have seen them discounted recently. So instead of like $30, 20% off, $6 off, they're coming down to like $24. A lot of the botanical sets, I feel like I eventually see on sale. They're popular with like non-super Lego fans, like people like I build stuff that's like Friends and Ninjago and Star Wars and Speed Champions and Icons and like all I try to build stuff from a pretty like wide selection of sets, but I think these are like particularly popular with people who, or the botanicals in general are popular with people who maybe aren't like super curious about Lego or super interested in Lego, because they do look so good and they can be so fun and interesting to build and to display and stuff like that. So I do appreciate that. I think it's likely that the Botanicals line does like bring more people into the hobby. Maybe they build a botanical set, maybe they build all of the botanical sets, and they're like, I want to build more Lego. What else is there? Because this line, this theme hasn't been around for, you know, an insane amount of time. So maybe then that branches them into other Lego sets, more display-oriented stuff, adult-oriented stuff, or just anywhere. And I think that's a real possibility. There's probably like a measurable data like showing that phenomenon. I think part of the reason botanicals were and can be so successful is like good value, generally speaking, not just on a price per piece thing, but like looking at the end result, the size, the visual weight, if it's recolors, if it's new pieces, all of that stuff like goes into it. But like there seemed to be a decent value for some of these things, not all of them, but it depends on the size of the elements and everything here. If I'm correct, and there are some recolors in this, as well as these like new prints, that certainly is appreciated, does well in this set. I don't think this set should be $23. I frankly, at $20, it's like better. I probably would want it even cheaper. I'm struggling to feel like this is like $10 worth of stuff here. And I know comparing this to like one of the $15 botanical boxes that you build like a couple like smaller things is different. Those often have like a lot more tiny pieces. But the end result is a little bit different. I think I'm just struggling, I don't know what the breakdown is, if they're $10 a piece, for this one and for this one. If we remove the plants, like is this $7 and $3 and whatever, it just doesn't break down like super easy for me. And that's working off of the assumption that they are like, or working off the amount that it would be if it was a $20 MSRP. It's a $23 manufacturer's suggested retail price. That's what it will be. That's what I paid, is $23. I don't feel great about that. I know Lego's expensive, always been expensive, and that they make money, they make profit, and prices go up when, they can sell things for more money than they maybe otherwise would have. I think their margins on this have to be like really, really great. A Lego designer could, or a Lego executive or somebody could, correct me on that. But this seems like a little bit greedy for those extra couple dollars. I don't even know if this would be a good value set at $20 compared to like other stuff, whether it's like a Speed Champion that used to be $20 and then was $25 and then was $27, and maybe that's going up, just like what you get there, the completed model, you get a minifigure, whatever else. There's also licensing fees. This doesn't feel great in comparison to some other Lego offerings. And then if it was up to me, like if to get this for retail price without a sale, or get like the one of the Four Gentlemen on a 20% off, we're getting pretty close, $23, $24, but one's at a discounted rate there. I think the Four Gentlemen are like better sets. They're more mature, maybe. I think they're better builds, and I think the end result looks better, so I would probably go with one of those if I could find it for 20% off. If this is 20% off, then we're knocking, $4.60 off, which gets us down into that $18 range, which is better. I think I would have loved for this to be retail at like 18 and or 15 even. 20 would have been better than 23. I still don't know if it would be good. So I'm not like thrilled about this. I don't want like the Botanicals selection to be overpriced, but I don't want any Lego to be overpriced. I was just thinking on some level, if the Botanical collection is like uniquely qualified in terms of its like conversion rate, and what I mean by that is like getting people into the hobby who will then spend more money on Lego. There's an argument to be made that they're sort of a quote unquote loss leader. I don't think they would ever price things at a loss. Frankly, I don't think like at the scale and everything, if this was a $15 set, I don't think Lego would be losing money. Even if they did a little bit, like, is that worth it to get people into the hobby such that they spend more money with Lego, potentially on more overpriced sets or just other sets? And I think there's a real case to be made there. So I'm not feeling great about this. I think it's super cute, super happy to have built it, happy to have taken a look about it, and happy to talk about it, but it's just not a fantastic value. So that is my thoughts on that, and I think that is it. Happy plants. I'm a happy SoBricks, and even despite the price. If you like this video, please click the thumbs up and give it a like. If you like my other videos, click the subscribe button down below so you can stay up to date on all the Lego videos I'll be doing here in the future, including more Lego Botanicals, tons of the other June sets that release for June 1st, 2025, a bunch of other Lego sets from all different themes, all different shapes, size, price point, piece count, tons of different stuff. So subscribe so you don't miss any of my upcoming Lego videos. And if you wanted to support this channel and support my videos here, you could do that here on YouTube with membership, supers, and thanks. You can give money to the channel. There's a Patreon. It's linked in the video description, patreon.com/SoBricks. There's a buy me a coffee link. There's affiliate links, probably not to buy this exact set, but other Lego sets from a major online retailer. If you click on that link and buy something at no additional cost to you, I might get a small percentage of that, which helps tremendously. Every little bit helps. So thank you very much. And with all of that said, until next time, thanks. Bye.